good segue. We can move on to the next time. We kind of landed on that one for a while, but I'll try to fix the audio on that. See if I can see why it's not connected. All right, let's move on to the next topic, babe. What's the next one?
The backlash against Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis explained. How will it impact their careers? The headline comes from Vox.com. Character letters can be an important part of criminal sentencing. These Danny Masterson letters miss the point.
Joy had you saw well real quick. Let's this whole situation. When I heard that they apologized for writing their character letters to the judge, and we know, if you guys don't know, that's when family members of an accused or sentenced person, they'll write these impact letters to hopefully get their sentence reduced or to impact the judge's decision or maybe the jury's decision. And then you also said that the people on the prosecution side, the family members of the victim, people related to the victims, can also write these letters to say the opposite. Like punch him in the dick, like what Tabitha would say.
Yes.
But
punch him in the dick.
Punch him in the dick. But the thing that made me go, oh, this is gonna fuck y'all career up, is the fact that they had to come up with an apology for writing. I'm like, why are you apologizing? You're apologizing because it was made public. They said it out loud. We only thought it was for the judge to read. We didn't know that this was stuff that was going to be made public or read out loud or blah blah blah. So we want to apologize to anybody that no. But why are you apologizing now? You meant. The family, Masterson's family, asked you to write letters on his behalf. You took that information and you did it. So you meant to do it. So I don't really understand the apology on that side of
it. So here's my only interjection into that. Mm-hmm. And because I always try to find compassion for the other side and maybe their reasonings why.
Unless you're Drew Barrymore.
If a mother of a murderer was asked to write a letter about her son who murdered someone, her compassion for her son still going to be there, no matter if he's a murderer or not. She can go, he's a fucking killer, but this is what I think about my son.
Right. No, I said the same. Yeah, I said the same thing. I said it makes more sense for family members.
I mean, they did explain that they were writing it from the point of view of the person that they knew him to be. I think probably everyone's biggest problem is that to this day, Danny Masterson still says, I didn't do shit wrong. I didn't do anything.
Which is the biggest problem.
That's the biggest problem. At no point did he say, look, I really messed up. I didn't know, whatever. I'm sorry, whatever. Because then people would be like, okay, I'm not saying they would forgive him, but you would be like, at least he admitted it and said, man, I messed up. That was a long time ago. I'm not the same person. But he's maintained this whole time, I didn't do anything.
Well, crossing the lines and stuff like this kind of also goes into what we were talking about previously. I can see exactly what Tabs is saying. Like for family members and stuff like that, that makes sense. But I'm going
to push back on that word you're using, because who gets to dictate what is family? Blood does not make family. If I would have been in the exact same situation, he doesn't need to be my family member to you consider family.
I've had family members who were accused of heinous crimes and whatnot, and if I believe that they were guilty, if I believe they were innocent of it, or if I believe they were 100% innocent of it, then I would write that impact statement. If there was doubt in my mind, I probably would not. That's just me personally. I'm not saying that they were wrong for writing. They felt like they was right at the time. They were asked to do it and they decided to do it. But you said that Joy. I'm sorry. I'm pointing to Joy. Joy said you said that there was one actor who used to get was it Topher?
Yeah, the guy who played Eric.
The lead of that show, who used to get shit a lot from his cast mates and stuff like that. He was the one. He was also asked to do a
he said
statement.
Fuck you,
and he said no. He said
he
no.
made an Instagram post, him and his wife, that was basically like, we stand for all the women who've been raped.
Yeah.
We're yeah.
And that's my point. Even if Ashton and Mila were leaning on, we're just writing this based on the person that we knew. There's some common sense that has to be brought into this. There is a chance, and since he was found guilty, a very high chance that he's guilty of this thing. Just because, like, if I'm a serial killer, but Tab, me and you were best friends, and I'm like, I like to kill people, but I'm never gonna kill Tab, and I only show you my nice Dexter side, and I never show you my dark passenger. And just because you don't,
Dexter.
Yeah,
Use Dexter as an example.
Right.
How many times have we taken something of a bad behavior and created an anti-hero and rooted for them, even though the behavior's bad?
Oh no! I still turn Dexter's ass in. I don't give a damn how nice he is. He's a fucking killer. I don't care. He only kills the bad. So he's still he's a murderer. Yeah, I can't try. I'm not.
Exactly, like as Dragon Movie Guy has said in the comments, and that's probably what most people are having a problem with. Typically, when you have like a murderer and their family member is writing a letter, that person is, again, acknowledging, I know what my son, daughter did was horrendous. Yeah. I'm begging for mercy because this is my child. So they're acknowledging that everything is wrong, but they're telling you, I still love my kid, and I'm asking for mercy. They're saying, Ashton and Mila, there is no acknowledgement that anything was done. They're just saying, look, I know him to be a cool dude. He's been cool for me.
And that's the first big mistake. Because Tabitha's right.
Is the problem. No one out there is going, like, I know he did some messed up stuff.
Yeah. That's their first mistake on their letters, because Tabitha's right. Like, just because they're not blood relatives don't mean that they don't have a family connection or a bond. They might be the best friends in the world. So I'm not faulting them for feeling that it was the right thing to do to speak on his behalf and to give him a lighter sentence. But if you didn't acknowledge at all in your letter what he did, even if you didn't believe he did it, we're talking about Hollywood again. You're in the Hollywood mix. You know how it looks, that Hollywood people are all blah blah, devil worshiping and Satanists and deviants and stuff, and all that stuff. It can impact you. You know how this is gonna look. So it's like Topher knew how it was gonna look. That's why he said, "Fuck that, I ain't writing shit." He's like, I'm keeping my career. But I don't blame Ashton. Them.
Christina Ricci made a statement too. She did not reference this case.
Yeah.
But she made an Instagram post that this is what we're talking about, because she was referencing how you have to think about when you're saying something, how it doesn't really work to just say, well, the guy I knew, he was a great guy.
Yeah,
okay,
because that's all
all you know of him. That doesn't mean he did something.
You weren't just like Dexter, just like Dexter, for example. If you're like, because I'm just the mailman, and he was always nice to me. Yeah, because you weren't a serial killer that was on Dexter's table.
Like all the neighbors that they interviewed, like, man, he was always the friendliest dude.
He's always
brought me food. Like, okay, but he just still murdered his whole family yesterday. What is your point?
Yeah, but that potato salad was great though. Like, no, that's not no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, just because the dude threw a great barbecue on 4th of July and had the greatest potato salad in history, I'm not gonna go out I mean, my impact statement was, my letter would have been something like, I spent time with this dude and he never showed that side to me. I would just stick to the damn facts. But it wouldn't be for a lighter sentence, because what does that say to the victim's family?
I think the real key point here is there's been no real admission of guilt from him.
Yeah.
So had there been an idea of, this was a really horrible time in his life, he made some really horrible decisions, this is not the
he should be held. Yeah, he should be held accountable for.
Here's the person we knew, and I'm struggling, reconciling the fact that this is something that happened in a stage of his life that I was around and I didn't recognize it. but and the person that I know is to be this. I could see an impact letter going, if he could get the help he needed, if he could, you know, be brought back into society safely. I would stand by him I could see somebody wanting to stand by their family in that way.
Yeah, because
And
these
still
these
getting to their
impact letters
kid.
are meant to convince the judge to make the sentencing lighter. That's the
Later.
whole point,
Correct.
though. So
Correct.
you're so
So,
whether no matter how they're trying to spin it, that was the purpose of their letter. And everybody knows that, because one of the first things that Ashton Kutcher and Mila said on their apology was they tried to remind people that we have charity organizations for supporting victims and things like, which to me would have been like, then you guys should have had your common sense should have said, and your representatives should have advised you that joining the impact letters thing on behalf of Masterson would probably not look good for people who have charity organizations to help victims of of assaults and stuff like that. This is not going to look good for you. And they probably, and I would have, me personally, I would have abstained from it. I wouldn't have wrote one, but that's just me.
If I always try to put myself in the position of, if this was my child, and I knew they did wrong, would I still
That's
try
more
to get their
understandable.
sentence
Yeah.
less?
Yeah, that's more
Then yeah,
understandable.
I would
But
still
your other
going to
example,
go.
but your other example to that was, we don't know how close their bond is. Blood is not about blood. They could feel like brothers, and that's fine. But
No,
it's
I'm
more
just using
but it's
that
more
relationship.
understand the people
No,
who are against.
I'm using the strength of that relationship. That's my point. I'm doing that on purpose. I'm doing it because I know the strength of that relationship. That does not mean that relationship couldn't be that strong for them.
Yeah, I
I'm
no, I
assuming.
agree. But I think,
So
and I think the people who are,
what I'm saying though is, I would still write that impact letter. I would write it differently. I would go, my child did wrong and they still need to have a punishment. I would maybe like their punishment to be less, but I still think that my child is a redeemable human being who maybe should have less punishment. I can see myself doing that for my child with a relationship that I was bonded to. So I have to apply that and not be a hypocrite to the rest of the world.
I'll say I don't really have a problem that they wrote the letters, but yeah, it definitely was a tone deaf letter, because
Yes.
there was no acknowledgement that anybody did anything wrong.
that's true. That's bad. But I don't necessarily agree with with that 100% tap, because now with my wife, I mean, Joy's not one of my children. She's my wife. But I would, in that situation, I think the people who are coming after Mila and Ashton would, if Mila and Ashton Kutcher were Masterson's father and mother, there would probably be no or as much backlash against them, because you're literally their mother and father. But they're not. I can understand what you're saying with looking at, but I can't do that. I can empathize with other people's children. I can empathize with their with Masterson's parents, but
if their parents can kill their children and you can have a devolved relationship with your parent to child, why is it out of this world for two people who don't have a blood relation to have this same sort of bond?
I'm not saying that it's out of,
recognized as a parent to parent.
But I'm not saying that it's out of this world. I'm saying that the naysayers would have understood more. But with them not being blood related, they're gonna bash them 100%. How can you be a,
in my mind.
Yeah, they're 100% gonna be like, you can tell me all you want that this is about just supporting your friend who you feel a family connection to, but it's still equally.
And then the judge made their statement on why
they said it's still equally bad.
I loved the judge's statement.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this until
statement was
Joy
amazing.
told me about this. Go ahead. Well, read it real quick. Joy, you have it real fast. I don't have a display, but you got it, right?
It said, Mr. Masterson, I know that you're sitting here steadfast in your claims of innocence, and thus no doubt feeling victimized by a justice system that you feel has failed you. And I am sure you're asking yourself how you can be convicted of each charge of a SA incident occurring 20 years ago based on the testimony of a woman that you believe is disgruntled and has a vendetta against you. But you were not convicted on the testimony on one person, although the testimony of one person is sufficient evidence to sustain a conviction, and you were not convicted based upon rumors, innuendo, gossip, or speculation. You were convicted based upon the testimony and evidence that 12 people from the community found to be credible. You were convicted because the victims testified about what occurred back in 2001 and 2003. You were convicted because each of the victims reported the grapes to someone shortly after the grapes occurred, also back in 2001, 2003. Jane Doe 2 told her mother and friends, thus reporting. Jane Doe 1 reported to Scientology officials and also wrote letters to Scientology's International Justice Chief reporting it. They also reported to the Los Angeles Police Department almost approximately a year later, and Jane Doe 3 reported to Scientology ethics officers and higher officials within the Scientology organization shortly after. In addition, shortly after, you paid Jane Doe approximately $400,000 to keep quiet about the charged incident. And while some may argue that whether you believed her story was true or not, you just didn't want the bad publicity she was seeking money from you, close to $500,000 is an awful lot to pay for the silence about an incident that you claimed never happened. The events as relayed by the victims were similar to each other, and during that time, the victims told other people about the grapes shortly after the grapes had occurred. The victims were still Scientologists. They had not left the organization yet. So the argument that they only colluded with each other decades later after leaving Scientology to get money from you doesn't make sense in light of their earlier reporting, nor does it diminish the truth or impact of the earlier statements made at or near the time when they had no motive to life, retaliate, or gain money. And then she went on to list out all of, for each count, how much he got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty much
I loved her statement.
Yeah. I didn't even know about that until today that even was out there. So the judge even had their own impact.
I thought
statement.
she did a really wonderful job laying it out for him, because I think one of the things that's really recognizable with this whole scenario is that he is a straight narcissist who cannot recognize his bad behavior and cannot recognize the harm that he's caused. So he sees himself as a victim because that's how his narrative has been created.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that she called out his victimhood and really laid it out how he was not a victim and how this was not things working against him or people trying to take advantage of him, about how this was because of his actions and his contributions to this, and that this was his doing, no one else's. I love that she really made it a holeless scenario for him to where he could not be the victim.
Yeah, everybody in the chat is in agreement that, like Pierre Kelly says, that Kutcher and Kunis should have wrote better apology letters to Matt. Yeah, acknowledging what he did would have been a good start, but not doing that. Yeah, I mean it was swift how fast people started to. The question: what do you think? Is this going to impact their careers? What do you think overall? Round the table, what do you think? Is this going to impact negatively the Kunis and Kutcher's career? What do you think, Tabs?
I honestly don't really
Don't
care if it does or not. I think the focus needs to genuinely be off of them and be put on him, and really. I don't like people trying to pull other people into the problem. I think the focus needs to be him. He did horrendous things, and he needs to pay for that, and he needs to be the focus of that and not pull other people in and create focus away from that.
What was the sentencing? Was 30 to life?
30 to life.
30 years to
30.
life.
Yeah. 15 and 15.
Now, motherfuckers, until next time, have a happy, man. See you guys later. Peace. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. hit the subscribe button, like, and comment your thoughts on this topic or any topics that you think that we should talk about in upcoming videos. Also, you can follow us at T3 Medias on Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and we also have a T3 Media Studios podcast where we post our movie reviews and episodes of The Rundown. Till next time, guys.